Don't kick that potato rock, because inside what looks like a worthless lump, there could be a fortune worth $5,000 waiting for the one person who knows the secret. By the end of this hunt, you will never trust an ugly rock again. Professional gem hunters know something you don't. The world's richest treasures are not marked by glitter or shine. They are disguised as the most forgettable stones in the creek bed, the kind you would use to prop open a barn door. Some of these rocks are rarer than diamonds, and every year people walk right past them, or worse, throw them away. By the time we're done, you will see every riverbank, quarry, and dusty roadside as a potential gold mine. So let's crack open the secrets that have made fortunes for those who dared to look twice. Let us start with the kind of rock most folks would never give a second glance. You are walking a muddy creek in Iowa, boots sinking into the silt, and you spot a round, lumpy stone, dull gray, pitted, and as uninspiring as a chunk of old concrete. It is the classic Keokuk geode. On the outside, it is pure camouflage, rough, cauliflower texture, the color of wet cardboard, and just heavy enough to feel like a solid waste of time. But inside, a hollow cathedral lined with quartz crystals so clear and sharp they look like a frozen thunderstorm. Sometimes you will find calcite blades, or even a dusting of purple amethyst. These geodes formed millions of years ago, when mineral-rich groundwater seeped into limestone cavities, slowly building crystal palaces atom by atom. The trick is in the weight. Pick up two rocks the same size, and the geode will feel suspiciously light. Give it a shake. Sometimes you will hear the faint rattle of loose crystals, like coins in a tin. Tap it with another stone, and you might catch a hollow ring. The market for Keokuk geodes is no joke. A large, flawless specimen with rare inclusions can fetch $1,000 to $2,000, and the best can go higher if the crystals are exceptional. This is what nature hides from the impatient. But if you think that is the end of the story, wait until you see what is hiding in the volcanic Badlands. Now, picture the Oregon high desert, dust swirling, sagebrush rattling in the wind. You kneel in the shadow of an ancient lava flow and dig up a rock that looks like a petrified potato, knobby, brown, and so ugly you would swear it was industrial slag. This is the legendary Thunder Egg. The outside is pure deception, rough, weathered, and sometimes streaked with iron stains. But crack it open, and you are staring at a kaleidoscope of agate bands, jasper swirls, and sometimes a pocket of quartz crystals, sparkling like a secret sunrise. Thunder eggs are born from volcanic fury, gas bubbles trapped in rhyolite lava, later invaded by silica-rich fluids that crystallize over millennia. The science is pure poetry, with hydrothermal veins, mineral precipitation, and the slow dance of atoms arranging themselves into perfect crystal lattices. To spot a thunder egg, look for round or oval shapes, a pitted surface, and a weight that feels just a bit off, lighter than it should be. Sometimes a faint seam or crack hints at the treasure inside. The best thunder eggs, especially those with vivid agate patterns or rare opal centers, can command $500 to $2,000 from collectors. And every time you split one, you are the first human to see that pattern ever. The patient hunter knows the ugliest rocks hold the most beautiful secrets. But what if the next rock isn't just beautiful? It's royal. And then, deep in the basalt mines of southern Brazil, you find a boulder so nondescript it could be a chunk of old roadbed. It's heavy, rough, and the color of dried mud. But inside, it's a cathedral of amethyst. Crystals so deep purple, they look like they've been dipped in wine, sometimes tipped with golden calcite or flecked with iron. These amethyst geodes are the crown jewels of the mineral world, formed in ancient lava flows where gas bubbles became vaults for mineral-rich water. Over millions of years, iron and silica built up layer by layer, growing amethyst points as long as your finger. The prospector's trick? Look for boulders with a chalky rind, a slightly egg-shaped profile, and a weight that is lighter than solid basalt. Sometimes a small chip reveals a hint of purple or a glint of crystal. The market is fierce, large, deep-colored amethyst cathedrals from Brazil or Uruguay routinely sell for $1,000 to $5,000, and museum-grade pieces can go much higher. The right geode can pay for a year's rent, or a lifetime of regret if you walk past it. And if you think only the big mines hold fortunes, let me show you a rock that hides in plain sight, right under your boots. But before we go further, if you want more secret locations and insider tips, hit subscribe now, because the next rock could be the one that changes your life. Let's head to the California desert, where the sun bakes the ground into a cracked mosaic, and every rock looks like it's been through a war. You spot a round, lumpy stone in a dry wash, dull, tan, and so battered it could be a chunk of old bone. This is a Hauser geode, and it's the definition of don't judge a book by its cover. The outside is pure camouflage, pitted, chalky, and sometimes streaked with red or black. But inside, you might find a hollow lined with quartz crystals, sometimes tinged with smoky hues or even delicate calcite blades. These geodes formed in volcanic ash beds, where mineral-rich water seeped into gas pockets and slowly built crystal chambers. The science is all about patience. Each crystal is a record of changing chemistry, temperature, and time. To spot a Hauser geode, look for round shapes, a surface that feels rough and almost sandy, and a weight that is lighter than the surrounding rocks. Give it a gentle shake, and if you hear a rattle, you're onto something. The best Hauser geodes, especially those with large, clear crystals or rare mineral inclusions, can fetch $500 to $1,500. In the world of rockhounding, the desert is a master of disguise. And just when you think you've seen it all, there is a rock that breaks every rule. Now, imagine you are in the heart of England, walking the rolling hills of Somerset. You find a stone that looks like a muddy potato, rounded, lumpy, and so plain it could be a river cobble. But this is a Dulcote agate nodule, and it is the stuff of legend. The outside is pure misdirection, dull, gray-brown, sometimes with a thin crust of chalcedony. Inside, it is a riot of agate bands, reds, blues, and golds, swirling in patterns that look painted by hand. Sometimes you will find a pocket of quartz, or even rare minerals like celestite. These nodules formed in ancient limestone, where mineral-rich water filled cavities and slowly built up layers of agate and crystal. The prospector's edge is to look for round or oval shapes, a slightly waxy feel to the surface, and a weight that is lighter than a solid stone. The market for Dulcote nodules is fierce. A large, vividly banded specimen sold at auction for over $7,000, and even smaller pieces with rare colors can bring $1,000 to $3,000. This is what happens when patience, geology, and luck collide. Nature's best treasures are always hidden in plain sight. But there's one rock that stands above them all. A stone so unremarkable, most people would never pick it up. Yet inside, it holds a fortune, and a story that proves the world still has secrets left to find. Let me take you to a private dig site in the Midwest. The air is thick with anticipation, and every shovel full of dirt could be the one. A man, just like you or me, pays a small fee to dig in a field littered with potato-shaped rocks. He cracks open a large, ugly geode, dull, gray, and so ordinary it could be a doorstop. But inside, he finds a cathedral of smoky quartz, with a single flawless calcite crystal perched like a crown. The site owner, a veteran of the trade, offers him $400 on the spot, before the dust even settles. But the real value comes later, when collectors and dealers see the photos. Offers climb into the thousands, and the geode eventually sells for over $5,000 to a private collector. This is not a fairy tale. it is a documented sale, and it happens more often than you would think. The science behind this miracle is hydrothermal veins, mineral-rich groundwater, and the slow, relentless work of time. The identification protocol is simple. Look for round, lumpy stones with a dull exterior, a weight that feels just a bit too light, and a hollow sound when tapped. Sometimes the only way to know is to take the risk and crack it open. But the reward is the thrill of being the first human to see a hidden world, and the knowledge that you just turned a worthless rock into a small treasure. In the world of geode hunting, the line between trash and treasure is razor thin, and every rock is a new roll of the dice. So, how do you test these rocks at home without a lab or a geology degree? Here's the protocol every pro uses. First, the weight test. Pick up the rock and compare it to another of similar size. If it feels lighter, you might have a hollow geode. Next, the sound test. Give it a gentle shake. If you hear a rattle, that means loose crystals inside. Tap it with another rock. A hollow geode will ring, while a solid rock will thud. For the scratch test, use a steel nail or a piece of glass. Geode exteriors are usually hard, around 6.5 to 7 on the Mohs scale. If you have an ultraviolet flashlight, shine it on the rock in a dark room. Some geodes, especially those with calcite, will glow under ultraviolet light. For the ultimate test, measure the specific gravity. Weigh the rock in air, then in water, and compare the numbers. Geodes are less dense than solid rocks. If you are still not sure, a drop of dilute hydrochloric acid will fizz on calcite, but not on quartz. But remember, the only way to know for sure is to crack it open. That is the moment of truth. Remember the man who found a geode worth $5,000 in a field of potato rocks? That could be you. You now possess the knowledge of a pro, the secrets that turn ordinary stones into extraordinary fortunes. The next time you see a dull, lumpy rock in a creek bed or a dusty field, don't kick it aside. The difference between a doorstop and a fortune is now yours.